Hello, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. Today, everybody, we're talking Kansas City Royals, folks. They burst onto the scene last year, started to look like a legit squad. What are they going to look like in 2025, everybody? Couple moves that you might have forgotten about. They made them rather early on in the offseason. We're going to reflect on what their offseason looked like and then go through that lineup, the pitching staff, and just decide whether or not they're going to be hitting their over or hitting their under in 2025. Before we get into it, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Adam, let's start with that offseason, who they bring in, who they lose.
Yeah, I like their offseason, actually. I don't think it's the flashiest, but it's still good enough for a team that won 86 games and went to the playoffs last year. We kind of forget they literally went to the playoffs and faced the New York Yankees.
Did forget that.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, like they were a playoff team and they had a decent run. Now they weren't expected to go far, but they had a decent run. But this is what they did this offseason. They signed back Michael Wacha to a 3-year deal, $51 million. That was huge for them. He was a very good player for them last year. They lost Paul DeJong. That's okay. They got back Michael Lorenzen. Again, another good player for them. They lose Garrett Hampson over to Arizona. Jordan Lyles, Yuli Gurriel, Tommy Pham, some kind of Band-Aid guys. Nick Anderson does go. He was a little bit
nothing major
here, right? Adam Frazier, again, another little Band-Aid bench dude. He's gone. Will Smith's gone. They didn't win a World Series. Will Smith, his streak goes to an end, but the Will Smiths do continue.
Yeah,
because you had to dodge Will Smith continue.
Yeah. It's honestly, we should be betting on that. Shout out to Betway, everybody. So find a way to bet on that. Anybody that's got a Will Smith on their team, bet their World Series win.
So the Dodgers are doing a repeat this year.
Unless Will Smith signs to somewhere.
Yeah,
we should pick him up. Blue Jays should
pick him up.
Okay, we're falling off topic right here, but anyways, that was kind of their offseason in terms of people that they lost, brought back. Jonathan India, though.
They did,
Big time trade.
They traded for Jonathan India, and they gave up Brady Singer in return. It was kind of like hey, Cincinnati Reds, you need pitching? Well, we need some offense in front of Bobby Witt, so let's do a 1-for-1 right here. And honestly, you can kind of compare their WARs and different impacts, and they're kind of very similar. Every team kind of needed that hole. But adding Jonathan India to this team, that was their only addition to that offense, and that was huge. Because you look at this right here, you look up and down the lineup. Obviously, Bobby Witt is the dude, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. But you needed somebody in front of Bobby Witt, and you needed somebody to get on base, and he's got a very good on-base percentage in terms of his batting average. 248 batting average last year with an on-base of 357.
Yeah.
That's over 100 more points for that on-base percentage. That's good. And honestly, this is good for Jonathan India, too. You're going to have Bobby Witt batting behind you probably the entire season, assuming that India's staying at the leadoff spot. The entire season. So if I'm a pitching staff, and it's 2 outs, and I don't want to get Bobby Witt up.
Yeah.
I'm pumping you with strikes down the middle. So Jonathan India should know that, and I think his numbers are going to increase because of that.
Yeah, and I also think that a change of scenery is good for him. Jonathan India showed that he's got the potential to be something special in this league when he won Rookie of the Year. He has not been able to replicate those numbers, but he's still been an above-average baseball player pretty much the entirety of the time since then. And I do anticipate that you're going to get good play from him. I would say that if I had to take a guess, I think he's going to be even a little bit better than he was last year. And in front of Bobby Witt Jr., that is going to be good. Now, obviously, Witt is the superstar here. We were just prior to hitting the record button, kind of looking
drooling
at all and in the numbers right here, folks. But you want to talk about a 5-tool player this is your guy. Incredible contact. Got the power, in speed, there, defense, everything
amazing.
Is there for Bobby Witt Jr. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT and is the best player in baseball. This is the second best player.
Yes.
I know that Aaron Judge can knock 50 or 60 or whatever, but this guy is just the most complete guy.
I would trade if I was the Yankees. I'd trade Aaron Judge. They wouldn't, but I would trade Aaron Judge for Bobby Witt in a heartbeat.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? When you put it that way, it's
yes.
like, I want the, forget about age and everything like that. Like, I'd want Bobby Witt because, you look at what he's done, and not only he's got better every single year, but the years that he is producing is phenomenal. Like, first season, 20-30, literally on the dot. Then he has a 30-40 season. Then a 30,
almost 30-50.
Almost 30-50. Then a 30-30. One day this guy is going to hit a 40-40. With just the amount of progression that he's having. It is unfortunate he plays for Kansas City, which is a bigger ballpark. So maybe that kind of hinders maybe a couple home runs here and there. But this guy literally...
He had 10.4 WAR, so I don't think it matters last year.
That's insane to me, too. Like, again, this is one of the best players in baseball, and you finally got somebody in front of him. The reason why the Royals lineup is going to be good next year is because of Bobby Witt. Because when you go up and down the lineup, like... Vinny Pasquantino, I like Vinny. Like, he's solid kind of guy. Like, you're not going to be upset to see him in the lineup, but he's their number 3 hitter. Salvador Perez, we know how good he is. He is getting up there in age. We'll see if he can continue that production. He did actually get hurt in spring training recently, so something to monitor. Michael Massey behind him, and then the 6 through 9 is just kind of filler guys filling up the lineup. A couple utility players down there with Isbell and Garcia and Menendez. But, the reason why this lineup bangs is Bobby Witt. Like, with this lineup, without the addition of India, they were 10th in batting average and an OPS of 14. That's Bobby Witt Jr. right there.
Big reason why is because of Bobby Witt Jr. I think that the lineup is it's okay. And it's, when you compare it to some of the other, thumpers in all of baseball, it's like, okay, it's, do we really believe in it? I do. Because I think that their pitchers are going to keep them in the ball game long enough for Bobby Witt and Jonathan India and Salvador Perez to have an impact, right?
That's the thing. Like, here's the thing. If they lose Bobby Witt,
wow,
this team's
all
completely done.
It's all over.
But if they have him, then, the pitching staff's going to be good enough.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that pitching staff because this surprised me quite a bit. It's not names that you hear every other day, but these are guys, man. Cole Reagans with a nice breakout year last year. He did 3.14 ERA, almost 200 innings pitched. Seth Lugo did eclipse the 200 mark. He had a great year, 3 ERA right there. Everyone was good. Quite literally, everybody in that rotation was good. They brought back Walker. They brought back Lorenzen. Those were strong moves for this team because you look at the impact that they had. They pitched collectively about 300 innings of baseball right there for, a low 3 ERA. Yes, you lost Brady Singer, but when you look at that rotation, you didn't even need him, really.
No, and again, where's the area that needs addressing? It was the offense, and, your pitching staff was number 2 in all of baseball according to ERA.
Starting pitchers.
Starting pitchers, and the whip at 4, right? So the pitching staff was great, and it's crazy how they kind of turned these former bullpen guys like Lugo and Waka into just bona fide studs. Waka was great before he came, and so was Lugo, but they continued their success here. And it's crazy that Lugo, just being a few years removed from being a bullpen guy, can pitch over 200 innings.
Well, and honestly, credit to the Kansas City's just team overall and development. I mean, I know that a lot of these guys have come from elsewhere, but when you look at that lineup especially, it's all Kansas City. And I do think that, Kansas City has also been able to get the best out of some of these players like a Cole Reagans, the Wakas and everything like that. So their developmental team and just coaching staff and everything, it goes a long way, and we are noticing it. Now, we do need to bring up the bullpen right here because that was a weak spot for sure. They addressed it in the offseason by bringing in Carlos Estevez, and that's a big-time move because he had a 2.45 ERA last year, 26 saves. That was over there in Colorado. If you have a 2.45 ERA...
Well, he was in L.A., and then he was drafted by Colorado.
Right. Okay, my mistake.
It was funny because I was actually going to bring that up. In Colorado, no one blinked an eye at this guy. He had an ERA of 4.95 in Colorado, goes to L.A., what do you know? Drops a whole 1 point plus in LA, and then has a phenomenal season. I actually had him in fantasy. I remember I picked him up. No one was talking about this guy. Yeah, and then he goes and actually does good stuff, and then he comes over here to Kansas City, and I think he's going to continue that success.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I do think you add that guy in, it just like it gives you somebody up there at the top, and everybody else kind of falls into place after that. So the bullpen, no, it's not going to be your biggest strength.
Like Urseg too. Like he's pretty solid.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like you look at the top guys, and it's like, okay, like there's some stuff there. There are weak points for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be something that they're going to deal with. Like, let's face it, this is probably not going to be a 95+ win team or anything like that. But I still think that they can be very solid. So with all that being said, they won 86 games last year. That was like a nice big time step for them.
Yeah.
What is their win over under total right now, according to Betway?
It's pretty interesting, guys. But yeah, shout out to Betway real quick. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code on the screen right here, or click the link in the details section to join the action. Must be 19 years or older. Available in Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I was kind of shocked when I saw this line. It's even for the odds. It's over under 82.5.
Whoa.
For a team that had 86 wins last year without Jonathan India.
Wait a second.
Obviously, you're asking for the pitching staff to be good again, right? I think they're projecting there's some regression in the pitching staff. But still, you're giving me 82.5? I already say it right here.
Yeah.
I'm going over.
Yeah, man.
I actually have them predicted to be second in the division. And actually improve and go like 87 wins.
Well, and I could definitely I could see this team winning high 80s, 80 wins
80s.
Again, right? Like that that feels like a good spot for them, considering the staff, considering the offense now. Bobby Witt, it's just like no.
You're gonna spank the Chicago White Sox, and I know that the division isn't like as a walkover as it used to be. Like you got the Tigers. Honestly, Tigers and Royals are kind of the same tier for me. Like they're very good pitching, weaker offense, but there's some pop there a little bit. And then you got the Twins, who we just broke them down. Who the hell knows what they are? They're going to be around 500 maybe. And then you got the Guardians. They're always going to be a pesky team. So the Central's hard.
Yeah.
But you're going to pick up wins elsewhere, and they're a playoff team last year for a reason.
I knew that this was going to happen. I went under a lot in the beginning parts, and I'm going over a lot recently. I think
that's how it happens.
We bulk shoot these folks, just for those of you who are still here. We shoot 3 at a time. I've went over on the first 2 in Chicago and Jesus, who did we just
Cubs,
talk about?
The Mariners.
And the Mariners.
Yeah.
I went over on both of them, and I got to go over again, man. Like,
There's
just too much stuff to like, and 82.5
that's too easy.
Seems really low. If it was like 85.5, 86.5, now is when I start to close up a bit. I'm like, I don't know. But it feels like 82.5, like you've left me enough wiggle room for even a couple fuck ups.
Yeah, like is this team going to be a 500 ball team?
I don't think so.
I think they're a little bit better. Like when you have a number 2 pitcher, we just broke down the Mariners.
Yep.
Number 1 pitching staff, and that was their whole thing of being like, well, we can't possibly.
And that team had like the worst offense in baseball.
They don't have a Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
They're hoping that Julio Rodriguez is that guy, but he's not right now. Like, of course I'm going to go over.
Yeah. Over on the Kansas City Royals, guys. You guys let us know in the comments down below. Where do you see Kansas City going this MLB season? If they're anything like their football team,
all the way.
Go all the way, man.
Except they lose in the finals to the Phillies.
Yeah. I guess you could argue Bobby Witt's kind of becoming their Patty Mahomes a little bit.
A little bit.
He's got to show up in the playoffs now, but we'll see if they can make it there. You guys hit that like, smash that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we will catch you in the next one.
Cheers.